Philosophical omissions from atheist philosophy. It's a bit strange to me. Western philosophy is deeply indebted to the thought of Plato, particularly in my view Plato's allegory of the cave. The allegory points to the importance of the ideal, and the need for excellence. The allegory correctly contrasts the distinction between the ideal and the real, which is the stark distinction between our present moment and the possibility of something better, something more ideal. This aspect of human existence is fundamental to understanding excellence, corruption, and ethics. It's fundamental to understanding the imperfect present in light of a better possible future, a goal to aim for and to attempt to realize. In fact, you will find a number of atheists who abandon their materialist atheism for a panpsychic atheism, in order to attempt to include Platonic understanding, knowledge, and insight, all the while merely leaving us with a vague New Agey spirituality to do so. Admittedly, perhaps in many ways such a view is more intellectually honest and defensible, but surely such a move is atheism bumping into reality, bumping into the limits of its own ideology. And yet, atheism seems to totally ignore its role, significance, and purpose. And to do so is to ignore all of Western philosophy. Attempting to revive the failed materialist analytic tradition from the ashes of the 1940s and 1960s is indeed a strange move. But what would it take to make a persuasive case for atheism? I would like to see arguments which weren't reductive, which didn't involve straw persons, or framing errors. It would need to not engage in misrepresenting data. But perhaps most importantly, it would need to understand Christianity and the history of Christian philosophy and theology on its own terms, and ideally from the inside. Why Christianity simply won't go away. Christianity always tells a bigger story than, we're just dust, or, we're just atoms, or, we're just biology, chemistry, and physics. All those views are oversimplifications and reductions of reality. That distinction makes an incredibly difference. If you make the assumption that we are just biology, chemistry, and physics, a view which can't truly be proven. The very existence of the library, the bookstore, and the university are a massive refutation of that reductive view. Where else do we find evidence as humans? How do humans survive? How do humans find truth, infer possible truths, experiment themselves, create and resolve ethical questions, creative, innovate, and problem solve? All of these require a methodology and could partially involve a kind of scientific experimentation. However, to suggest that experiments alone were sufficient would be a dubious premise and assumption. Humans live on speculations about reality and the future, along with emotional goal-motivated intuitions about the future which can't be justified by science. Science primarily affirms the status quo. It can't answer all our questions about the future. It can't genuinely and robustly answer questions of meaning and purpose. We need more knowledge about the human experience than the chemical chart and a handful of equations, and evolution can explain about human life. While chemistry and physics can do a fairly decent job of explaining the physical non-living world, their ability to explain all of human existence is radically limited. When I hear a biography of Abraham Lincoln, Steve Jobs, or Hank Aaron, these three subjects don't give me a full picture. They can't. That's why I turn to historians and philosophers, not scientists when answering these specific concerns and challenges. That's why Stephen Johnson's books aren't just the journalistic recounting of experiments in all their academic and jargon-laden glory. Such a view, without the humanities and social sciences also called and deried the soft sciences by hardcore materialists, for instance omit notions of history or the cultural context. They likewise omit psychology, philosophy, ethics, and art. Each provides a unique toolset and perspective for understanding and interpreting life. Each of these domains provide unique insights into what it means to be humans. To simply assert that these other subjects don't matter or have nothing to offer us, is to create a kind of dogma and limit to one's worldview. It is to functionally take up Hume's fork, and execute it in literal form by burning those books that aren't science. It is on this basis that we are able to see past the simple caricatures and assumptions which make up the invented world of Dawkins, Hitchens, et al. He or she would have to be a charismatic person who can draw people away from one belief system to another one by creating an atheist religion. It would mean creating a religion with the person who promotes it becoming its god. With that, he or she would no longer be an atheist. The whole idea would be entirely contradictory and absurd. Religion thrives on emotion. For those who are part of it, it takes care of some of their emotional needs which can't be fulfilled elsewhere. Unless they are prepared to engage their rational mind, they will not be prepared to abandon their religion. For many, it is who they are, it gives them an identity. You also use the word influence. It goes to the heart of the problem. Influencing others is done by using emotions. Atheists are rational and use their ability to reason. That is why they don't believe in gods. They don't make any sense. It is not an emotional decision but a rational one. They are also a somewhat disorganized lot, with the only thing in common being that they don't believe in gods. There is no atheist hierarchy. Atheists must take care of their emotional needs without gods and religion, and that takes a bit of work at times. Religious people outsource it. They prefer to pay and have someone else take care of it. Since atheists don't offer that service and never will, influencing the masses is not going to happen. Atheists don't offer the emotional claptrap religions do. It would never happen. There are many already who do not believe, but there will always be those who do believe. This world was created by God, and everything therein belongs to God. God saw the end before he started the beginning. As God is beyond space and time, as we know it, names of people who going to heaven are already written in the Lamb's Book of Life. God knows every step a man will take, every word a man will utter, every act a man will do, and every thought a man will think. God is way beyond man's understanding. God's thoughts are not man's thoughts, man's ways are not God's ways. In order for atheists to be successful, they have to 1. Create a scientific utopia, 2. Find a cure to death, make us immortal without God, 3. Make the world so peaceful, fun, and luxurious that we see no need for God, 4. Launch a totalitarian world government that rids the entire world of religion and creates a new renaissance of science. If humans were made immortal and evolution is true, we'd have a lot more time to collect solid data and proof of evolution. Nobody would die off or forget about what happened over 100 years.